Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with a daily technical update. It is Wednesday the 27th of November and today we'll have a look at Amazon that has rebounded sharply after being sold off the past couple of weeks down to test just above the support here at 195.37 and then a very strong bounce, and now it's trying to close this gap up here to 211.48. If it does that, well, then there's a very good chance that it will push higher and also make a new all-time high. We can see here on the weekly what it looks like. Also, the RSI is showing massive divergence, but if RSI closes above its upper falling trend line here, I think we will see a new all-time high, and that picture or this scenario is likely to play out if Amazon closes above closes this gap here, and then it will probably also push to all-time high. If it can't do that and being rejected, then it can slide back lower towards 200. Apple, which we also talked about yesterday, we looked at it after this push up there 2 days ago, Monday morning, and then again Tuesday it pushed higher, and it's likely to make a new all-time high. It's back in the positive sentiment on the RSI on daily. If it also breaks above and closes above its falling trend line, there will still be divergence on the RSI, but it is likely to push higher in the coming weeks and towards a year end, and it will probably also cancel this top reversal pattern. It did play out, but then very strong bounce, and we are building a bullish trend. On S&P 500, new all-time high close, pushed higher yesterday. Excuse me, there is no divergence on the, there's a slight divergence on the RSI, as we can see, you see it's not up there yet, but I think it will break higher. Currently it's not indicated to it's indicated to unchanged, but let's see when we get to there. We are in a bullish trend, higher highs and higher lows, and also if we're looking at the weekly, it looks fairly strong, despite the fact we actually do have some divergence here on the RSI. But as you can see, a divergences or imbalance in the market can actually go on for quite some time, and we are in a bullish trend, so trust that for now, but keep your stops tight. You don't want to see it start closing this gap down here, and that is key. The Nasdaq 100 closed this gap here and by a close above 20,897 and could push higher. There's no divergence here on the RSI, meaning we are still potential up to push higher. There's massive divergence on the weekly chart, so a little bit fragile there, the uptrend it is, but again, keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on this gap. If it closes back below 20,680, it could be in danger, in jeopardy. The Dow Jones index, another new all-time highs. No divergence on the RSI, likely to push higher. I think we will cross 45,000 fairly shortly, could push higher here, and then maybe we should have a correction. On the weekly, it's about to break above its upper falling trend line, which is a strong signal if it does that. On the weekly chart here on Dow Jones, it's very close to, and I think we will push higher in the coming days. Finally, on the Russell 2000 index, took a little bit of a breather yesterday, a little bit of a setback, but we are in a bullish trend. However, there is now divergence on the RSI. You can see the RSI values are declining, so maybe we are in for a little bit of a correction lower here the next couple of days to around 236, 235 maybe. And after being rejected at the previous all-time high, I think we're in for a correction. Also divergence here on the RSI, we can see that it seems to be playing out. And just very quick on the Hang Seng, that has bounced just above 19,000 this morning. And let's just zoom in so it's easier to see what's going on. Just above 19,000, didn't close this little gap there. I think we could see a push up towards 19,925, possibly touching 20,000. It is not unlikely we'll push a little bit higher, but we have the 55 moving average here coming up. I kind of put it is rising, so The underlying trend is a little bit bullish, and we are just above the 100. However, we are in a negative sentiment on the RSI, so I think the uptrend will be limited, but I think we could touch 20,000. If it takes out 19,000, well, then we are looking at 18,000. Moving on to Eurostoxx 50, that is really frustrating at the moment. Closed back below 4,800 there 2 days ago, and yesterday also got beaten a little bit. It's really key if it takes out the 4,700 here level. Then I think we'll see a push below towards these lows here back from August. It looks fairly heavy, and I don't think it will bounce strongly. If it could take out the from the 25th of November, the peak here at 48.32, then we could see a bounce up to 4,900, but it is in a bearish trend, and pre-market it is indicated unchanged. DAX is still the best of the European markets for now, still above the clouds, still above 55 moving average, and very key, it is still above 19,000. There's still positive sentiment on the RSI despite massive divergence. So let's see. What I will do, actually, I will give myself a little bit of guidance and see, okay, maybe there's a bit of this trend line here, keep an eye on that. That could be key. If it breaks above that, well, then we could see a push higher up. That could be first indication. And on CAC 40, I'm skipping the Amsterdam index today and the Swiss market. I don't feel there's any interest for it. Let me know if there is, then I'll add it again. The CAC 40, after couldn't hold up above 7,300, I think we'll see a push down to 7,100, possibly also lower. Euro dollar, a lot of volatility yesterday, where it spiked up to just a few cents below the 786 retracement at 105.50. If it can take out that, well, then I think we will test this a little bit of resistance up here at 106 and a change. Taking out that, well, then there's a potential higher towards 106.65, 107. If it starts pushing lower, and I will just add a horizontal line just to give me an idea. If it takes out the spike down from yesterday at 104.25, then I think a downtrend will resume. So we are caught range bound here a little bit, and that can cause a bit of volatility. The sterling dollar, I'm used to call it cable, I'm sorry, but sterling dollar, I think it will bounce if it can get back above the peak from yesterday at 126.17, 126.20. We should see a correction up to 127, where there's some stronger resistance area. If it can take out that 127.15, 16 there, then I think we could see a push up to the 200 moving average. If it takes out the lows at 124, well, then we are in for another sell-off lower, 124. 124.80 it is, then we are in for another sell-off down to around 122.23 level. Euro sterling, well, didn't really do that much yesterday and this morning. We can still see we're trading in this falling wedge-like pattern. We are still in a bearish trend, but it seems like it's exhausting a little bit. We have RSI divergence on the weekly, and if it can get back above the upper falling trend line here, well, maybe then there's a potential up to 84.5 level. Yen pairs really on the move after a couple of days where it didn't do much. Dollar yen closed below 153.25 yesterday, which we talked about yesterday, that if that was playing out, we could see it go up to 151.45. I actually think it will break this level, but there is some strong support here. We could push all the way down to around the 150, 149.40, where we have the 55 moving average coming up, giving some support. To 100 declining here, but we'll add a little bit to the support. However, you can see the RSI, there was divergence for quite some time, indicating uptrend exhaustion, and I think we will test the 40 threshold, a close below 40 threshold. Then I think we'll see dollar yen down here at 149.40. It needs to close back above 153.30 to demolish that picture, at least on short term. Euro yen. Euro yen also sold off. I tried yesterday, we talked about yesterday morning, I tried to get back above 161.90. It failed. Now it is back here at the 61.8 retracement, 159.55, and actually currently breaking below the cloud. RSI is indicating lower levels. I think we'll see it pushing down to this support here at 158.56, possibly all the way down to 786 retracement at 157.60. It really needs to get back above 162 to demolish this bearish picture. On the Aussie yen, also selling off now, breaking below the 99 level this morning. Let's remove this one. It's just not in play anymore. 98, there's some support if it takes out 98 and 97.5, which is the lower part of cloud, which I believe it will, because now we are having RSI below 40 threshold, meaning we are in a negative sentiment with likely lower levels. You can see lower low, lower high, lower low. We are in a bearish trend also on Aussie yen. Sterling yen also continuing and actually accelerating its downtrend. I think we'll see a push down to around 190, 189.50 level, where we have some fairly strong support, and then we could see a bit of a bounce, but we are in a bearish trend. This will be key. I think it will test. It really needs to get back above 194 to at least demolish the big picture or pause the bearish picture on the short term. But we are below all moving averages, so I think we will see a push down to around the 190, 189 level. Aussie dollar, well, a lot of volatility. Tried to get back below 64.40 yesterday. Didn't really do it. Well, it spiked a little bit below. I think that is the range it needs to break out. I think we will have a correction lower, a correction higher, but it needs to take out 65.50. So for now, regarded as being a range-bound area, but we are in a downtrend that is just pausing at the moment. We can see the moving average 55, 100, and also now the 200 slightly tilting lower. And I think despite the fact if we get a correction up, maybe even up to 66, it's not unlikely, but I don't think it will materialize. What we can do, we can add a Fibonacci to get an idea what is really going on. See, we were up to around the 38.2. We could get up to the 61.8 at just around 66, but the trend is bearish. Dollar Canada, massive move yesterday, spiked massively higher to the 138.2 projections as 141.74, and then closed back below the 141, which is a little bit sign of weakness that it can't really get up there. We didn't get the RSI to close above the upper falling trend line here on the RSI, meaning there's still divergence. It really needs to close above a 141 for a potential to 145, which we talked about yesterday. If it takes out 139.25, then we could see a larger correction towards 138, but I don't think that is in the cards at the moment. I think we'll see a push towards previous highs later. The Sterling Canada, very strong bounce, also spiked up to 786 retracement here at 177.60, a little bit higher. After falling back, now it's starting to move up again. If it takes out that, well, then we are looking at 178.30, which I think will reject it and send it back again. If it starts moving lower below 176, well, then I think we'll see the previous lows here under pressure. The Swiss franc, Euro Swiss, after spiking, correcting up to the 61.8 retracement, it is resuming downtrend, and I think was slowly faltering back towards the 92. It was an outlier there, but it is also what happened here back in August, but that was a strong bounce. We haven't seen a strong bounce here. It needs to get it back above this level here at 93.65 for upside potential. But as we can see, all moving averages declining, indicating we are likely to move lower, and negative sentiment on the RSI also supporting lower levels. Dollar Swiss, Dollar Swiss, key support here at 88. If it takes out that, well, then we are looking at lower levels around 87. Then we have broken this rising wedge-like pattern here, and there could be potential lower. And what we can do, we can say, okay, just to give an indication, we can see, well, if it takes out the 88, then we're looking at 87 and possibly all the way down to the 61.8 retracement at 86, which is down here at these lows here. Of the entire rising wedge-like pattern, it is not the most perfect way to do Fibonacci, but if you are looking at wedges, then it's a way to at least try to do it. You can also use Fibonacci to say, okay, the last leg up here. Oh, I need to grab it. Sorry. There we are, last leg up there, and we are currently very close to this 38.2 retracement level. On the dollar index, sliding lower, actually very bearish candle yesterday. We are in uptrend, exhaustive move. There's divergence on the RSI. You can see that RSI didn't get all the way up to previous peaks. If it takes out 106, well, then expect to move down to around 105 correction, and that then I think could be over. If it can take out the previous yesterday's peak up, then I think we'll see a test towards or move towards the peak here from last week and potentially higher. Gold sold off down to the 61.8 retracement of this very strong bounce there at 2,607, and then we see a bounce there, and I think it can bounce higher. We are still in the clouds, so kind of neutral. We never closed below the clouds, so underlying a little bit bullish. However, the RSI still showing negative sentiment, got rejected here at 60 threshold we talked about yesterday. So it is not a sign of strength. RSI really needs to close above 60 threshold for a potential higher. But I think we will see it pushing higher here today. And what I will do here also, I will try not to clot it too much. But you can see we are at 38.2 projection, retracement, could push up to 61.8 at 26.77, but we have the 55 moving average coming here that kind of giving it a little bit of resistance, but the 21 also there will give it some. So if it gets up there, I think then it will slide back, and then we can be caught range bound here for some time. If it takes out the lows from yesterday at 26.05, then I think we'll see push towards the lows down here just around 25.5. On silver. Silver seems caught range bound between $30 and $31.55. It really needs to break out of that. We have negative sentiment, so it is really struggling at the moment. Maybe it's trying to build a foundation for a push higher, but wait for a breakout for that. Also, copper can't really make up its mind either, and it is range bound here between that level right there, 418. I always add a little bit extra. We were very close to yesterday, and then the lows down here around 400. It really needs to break above that level for potential up to 430. On crude oil, WTI, well, still caught in this range here we talked about so often, 66.77 and 72.80 on the WTI. The Brent crude oil, well, same picture really here between 70s, but 70 and 76.32. So not much to say there. The Dutch gas, Dutch TTF gas correction down to the 38.2 at 45 and a change is in the cards. But if it closes the gap down to the 43.90, then maybe we could see a larger correction down to 42 area. And if we're looking at the weekly chart, we can see here, well, it actually spiked above its above rising trend line, which is not a strong resistance in any means. We are still in a bullish trend, medium term. There's potential up to 55, 56, 57. On the medium term, if it doesn't close this gap right there that we talked about. And the Henry Hub natural gas, US natural gas, spiked. It seems a little bit of uptrend exhaustion short term, just below the 364, which was the peak here back from more or less the same time last year. We're still in a bullish trend, could push higher, but a correction down to just above $3 is in the cards, but then I think it will push higher. Interest rates, here we have the US 10-year yields. 425 is key support. If it takes out that, well, then we are looking at 415, 414, but then we have the 55 moving average coming up, giving some support, but we need this correction here after having some divergence for quite some time. So keep on that level, 425. On the 2-year, we have support here at 422, a little bit of support, and if that is being broken, then we are looking at levels down, possibly 410, 406. We could see that, but then we also have the moving average coming up here, giving some support. So I think it will be a short-term correction, and then we could bounce a bit. On the EuroBund future, testing, very close to be testing the 134.25 resistance here. We are in a bullish trend with a positive sentiment. If it breaks back above that level there, then we could see it back here towards the 135.50 and higher 136. Looking at the weekly, we have very strong resistance here at 136.29, forming possibly a rising wedge-like pattern. And the UK gilts, finally, also had an okay day yesterday, but he still needs to get back above 95.36 for potential up to around 96. Bitcoin, very quickly on Bitcoin, support around just below 90,000, 89,500. It seems like we are currently bouncing here today. It is not, we are in a corrective phase, and it was needed. So I think we'll push higher here in the coming days. Ethereum, it needs to get back above the 3,600, 35.75 to be exact, for a push higher towards 4,000. So also a little bit of corrective phase. If it takes out 3,000, then we could see lower levels on Ethereum. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day, and talk to you again tomorrow.